Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Project Overload, where a bunch of fat guys sit here and talk about things that probably aren't going to affect you directly or really matter in the world. With me as always is my good friend Robert Sierra, also known as the Daedric Lord, Tosker,
Daedric Lord Tosker, yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
And of course, Satan's Fish, Mr. Jesse Daniels. Alright, you were telling me about the My Little Pony?
Oh, yeah, but I think you should introduce yourself first.
Oh, I'm Phoenix King 1, also known as Jay Jackson, aka the king and overlord of this podcast, and these two little punks are going to bow down to me! And just, whatever. Shut up, Robert. Don't give me that look.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I forgot. Logan, what's on your mind? Okay, cool. We'll get back to him next week, and he'll tell us what's on his mind. Alright, so...
Oh, right,
Tell us
yeah,
about
okay.
the My Little Pony thing.
So I'm watching Cracked videos, just flipping through and, watching some news.
You really like Crack.
Oh,
Like
dude,
a
Cracked
lot.
is, it's a great...
I like the Safe by the Bell thing, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Such great content on their website. If you don't know it, just go to crack.com or check out some of their YouTube videos. They are awesome. But yeah, no, so I'm just, I've got the autoplay on. So it's just flipping through videos after video after video. I'm trying to do dishes and clean up around the house. And this My Little Pony stuff pops on. And I'm like, My Little Pony? I was like, did this shit go out in the 80s? Come on now. And I'm like, I turn around because I'm going to turn it off. And they're people. They're people.
Like with hands?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they're people. I was
Speak
so...
up, Robert.
I'm sorry.
Assert yourself as a man.
Okay.
I was so freaked out by it that I just froze.
It's really off-putting, honestly. Like, I haven't seen the episode, but I've seen like pictures and stuff, and it bothers me. Like, why? For one thing, that should have died in the 80s.
Yeah,
It was fine then. And then the whole idea of a brony, like, I'm not going to try to take out any type of geeky or nerdy thing, because God knows we all have our weird stuff, but bronies, I don't hate them, but they make me feel weird. I don't really like them.
I actually know a few bronies. They're not.
I know. I'm sitting next to one. His name is Robert Sierra.
But I'm not a... Never mind.
I'm telling you though, I know a few, and they're not as weird as you would think they are, but it is a little bit.
Off-putting?
It's not off-putting at all. Actually, it's just it is weird when someone has something that they're so obsessed with, because like, with me as a nerd, I'm not really that obsessed with anything. And it's not just bronies that have this like obsession. Trekkies where they're really obsessed with Star Trek, and then you got the people who go out and they dress up as Star Wars characters every weekend. I mean, I think it's cool that people have things that they're obsessed with, But I don't have anything like that, so it's a little bit overwhelming sometimes.
I've got Yu-Gi-Oh! And Elder Scrolls.
I've got Batman, Halo, Gears of War, and probably Star Wars. I'm really into Star Wars.
I pretty much love everything about geek culture. And I was, a few years ago, and I've told you this before, me and another friend of mine were talking about doing our own show called Nerd Up, where we would just talk about nerd culture the whole time. I'm really into nerd culture itself, but, that never really happened.
Oh, we could probably do it here on this channel.
That'd be cool.
But, yeah, so, Robert, what's on your mind?
I don't usually have a lot of things going through this head, and normally when I try to tell you about them, you tell me to shut up, but,
Shut up, Robert.
Oh, okay.
No, but seriously, go ahead, Robert. Tell us what's in your gourd right now.
Well, I was just thinking about how you were talking about nerd culture and how everyone's got their different things, and I was talking about how this one guy was really into Fallout. So he started talking to me about Fallout, and I started to like, oh, well, Elder Scrolls was made by the same people who made Fallout, and I personally like Elder Scrolls over Fallout. I started talking about Elder Scrolls.
That's Bethesda, for anyone who doesn't know.
For those who don't know, it's Bethesda. And I started talking about Elder Scrolls. He had never even heard of the game, and he kind of was just like, okay, I don't care. I want to talk about Fallout. I was just like, oh.
And the graphics.
That's what I've learned. Like, I'm in the middle ground. I love Fallout, but I lean more towards Elder Scrolls because Skyrim's my thing.
Well, I'm a fantasy nerd, so Elder Scrolls is really great. I play online, ESO.
I've gotten into ESO recently too. I got the Morrowind expansion.
Are you playing on the computer or are you playing on the
Xbox
Xbox?
One.
Yeah, and a lot of people are playing on the Xbox.
Is it good on Xbox? Because me and Robert are friends on Xbox.
It's
it's
pretty
not
good.
it's
I
not
like
good
it.
as a cross. It doesn't cross platform.
No.
But it the graphics on Xbox One are amazing. So, and
But-
the game plays a lot like Skyrim or Morrowind or not Morrowind. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't say Morrowind. Morrowind is its own thing.
Not Morrowind. I mean Oblivion.
Okay.
It plays very similar to those games as far as controllers go.
The one
Yeah.
thing I've
I
noticed
want to
is
say it's
like
a
with the
WoW Elder Scrolls hybrid.
Well, and that was basically the
That
entire.
would be one thing. Robert's doing like the little scissoring action with his teeth. And that's why I said whoa. But I've noticed something like every Bethesda fanboy I've ever seen.
Robert.
Well, no. Just Robert's included in one sentence, but they're either like hardcore for Fallout or they're hardcore for Skyrim. I've kind of toe middle line. I lean more towards Skyrim because like
Well,
Skyrim-
all the Elder Scrolls games, not just Skyrim.
Like-
but you know what I mean. Like
Skyrim really is the one.
I was using I should have said Fallout 4 versus Skyrim just as like an example, but like
Yeah.
Well, to be
either you
fair,
like
Skyrim
Elder
really is
Scrolls
the
or
it's
Fallout.
the Elder Scrolls game that brought in
Yeah, that's true.
a lot of people. There were a lot of people who weren't playing any Bethesda games that came into play.
I made my
Skyrim.
start with Skyrim. I played Oblivion, and once you get over the graphics, it's an amazing game. And I've started playing a little bit of Morrowind.
And what is this whole thing like graphics? I don't give a flying fart about it. I'm trying not to curse because my mother could hear this and she doesn't like the fact that I swear a lot.
Mama's boy.
Yeah, I am because my mother will hit me with a shoe.
That's probably true.
Not
And-
like she won't really hit me with a shoe. She'll just kind of lob it in my general area, and it may or may not connect, whether she's mad or not.
Depending on how hulked out she is right there.
Yeah. No, my mother, like, growing up, my mother was she's a sweet lady, I should say, but my mother was she was like the disciplinary in our household. My dad didn't really do that. I mean, he did, but we knew that, like, when it came to whether dad's going to get on to you or if mom, you take dad.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because my mother was, like, the one who was just, instead of, like, trying to talk it out, like, my dad would, like, sit down, like, all right, so tell me what you're thinking. He'll yell at you, get mad at you, and then, like, you're disappointed. That makes you feel like crap. My mother would just spank the crap out of you. Maybe not the crap, but she will spank you.
Oh yeah, the difference in growing up when I was a kid. My mother and my father, they were separated, so my dad didn't have the chance to discipline me. So it was always my mom, and she was a big believer in spare the rod, spoil the child. Up until about I was 13 years old, and once I hit about 13, she went to spank me, and after she was done, I just looked at her. I was like, "Are you done? Feel better?" And I walked off. And from that day on, she just not something that she went to anymore. She did I like to call it psychological punishment, where it was grounding, but I was a big reader, so she would just ground me from whatever book I happened to be reading at that time.
Wow. How do you just take away your
That
books,
is-
man?
Oh yeah, she would just take away my book.
At
Wow.
one point when I was like maybe 4 or 5, and I vaguely remember this, my mother got like, I did something, I don't remember what it was, and she got like really, really mad. And every time I would try to escape my room, she would take one of my toys away. And then like I'd play with my sheets, because I should admit that I'm super ADHD.
Oh yeah.
And I can find like a
Oh.
toy out of anything. Like in church, I would look
Do
at
that
the
too.
pews and like, if only I had a buzzsaw, I can make a toy gun out of this and fight the bad guys. At that point, I was watching a lot of World War II, and so it's Nazis and all the Japanese. But I like the Japanese now. They gave me anime.
I remember just going out in the backyard and picking up a stick after watching Lord of the Rings and pretending I was fighting an army of
See,
orcs.
That's what I did.
Yeah,
I didn't have like I
When we were
didn't.
kids, we just stay outside all day long.
It was-
Most of the kids that I knew, like back in high school and elementary school, they were like playing Xbox growing up. What I had was my imagination. I had a Nintendo 64, an original Xbox, and a PS2 till I was like about 13. When I was 13, my dad's like, all right, we'll go ahead and get DirecTV. And then I started watching TV and caught up with everybody. What I would do is I'd go to my grandparents' house, watch like all the like Friday night and Saturday morning cartoons. That way you can talk to the kids on the playground about it.
Oh yeah.
K&D was my stuff back in the day. Do you remember that?
Which one was it?
Kids Next Door?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Dude,
I do remember
I-
that.
Door.
as a child, I really wanted to be number one. He was, I don't care. I was like, I would lose my hair. I'll do it. Give me that football-shaped head, the cool sunglasses. They had a gun that was a piece of wood. Gun up, use the trigger as a piece of wood. It was a mustard bottle, and it shot lasers. That was the coolest thing for me. That's probably
So,
why I
so we're
love
all
Ted.
agreed that Stewie grows up to be number one, right?
Oh my God! I have.
Where's Hey Arnold coming to the mix?
Hey Arnold.
That's the phase they went through in high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he slowly becomes nicer as he grows up.
Well, I mean, if you've seen the episode where Stewie meets his future self,
That's true.
Okay. Oh my. We just completely branched 3 different properties. Got. You know what? Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and
Adult Swim.
Seth MacFarlane need to hire us to write for them.
I know,
You're
pay
right.
us to write for you.
Yeah, we've got this, man. I've never written a word in my
The
life.
ultimate crossover episode. Stewie meets all of his selves.
Oh my
Oh, yeah.
God.
That'd be great. I mean, Stewie's got a time machine.
That's true. And a
They've been
dimensional
through
traveler.
alternate dimensions too.
Yeah.
Like there's
Yeah.
the Brian is a human, and he finally gets to live in human life, and then gets hit by a car.
Immediately off screen.
Yeah. Well, we like to do something on this show because this is technically a project for us, but we've been looking for an excuse to get together and do a podcast for a while. But now it's time for Ethical Corner, in which we talk about an ethical question for a little bit. And we had I should say that we are in the ETMX, which is Emerging Tech program here at Athens Tech. That Mark Evans, our professor, will be very happy with us because we just plugged him.
Oh,
He'll be a guest in our last episode for this semester. And we're excited for that. I got a bunch of intros I'm going to do for him. But our ethical question today, gentlemen, is one we talked about with the cops. Security or privacy? Which is better?
Good question, actually.
And before we go on, I should say that my kind of viewpoint is a little bit changed. For those of you that aren't familiar with what happened a couple weeks ago down here in Georgia where we're recording, we're in Athens right now. But there were 2 escaped convicts that shot and killed 2 correctional officers in a bus being transferred from Putnam County Jail. I don't know where they were going, but they killed the officers, took their Glock 22s, which are 4 calibers, and ran off, made it all the way to Tennessee, and then got caught. Also, they're withholding the money from the dude that caught him. There's $130,000 reward, and they don't want to pay him. I was talking to my manager about this because I work at a pawn shop in Newton County. He was like, "I would have just held a gun on him, so you're not getting your prisoners till I get my money." But I had a viewpoint of just keeping privacy up, but I think we should tag every prisoner. I think that everyone asks the question, what is the threshold before you get to the point to where personal liberties don't matter? I say when you kill someone or end up in a federal penitentiary, that's the threshold. Once you cross that, your rights no longer should be yours.
Well, and while you're in the correctional facility, that's true to an extent. You have absolutely no expectation of privacy. You have no you have no rights really at all. The idea is that you are there to serve time and pay off your debt, whether it be for murder or some other federal crime. But as far as tagging prisoners go, that's more of a humane question, really, because you have to ask yourself, when are the GPS trackers going to be taken off?
I say when you've served your time and you're out of the prison. While you're in the when you're in the prison system, you should have the tags in. After that, implant them somewhere to where they can get out only by a doctor. The prisoners can't take them out. But when they're done, just remove the trackers and then let them go on their merry way.
Very Suicide Squad.
I may have stolen it from Amanda Waller. And we'll get into that in a minute, because I have my issues with that stupid woman.
For those of you who, this is the first time we're recording, so you probably don't know this yet. We got Phoenix here who leans
I'm a libertarian.
Yeah, he leans right on a lot of issues with some social issues leaning left.
Jesse's left.
I'm a very, very leftist. I don't like to say that I belong to any one party, but I do lean left.
And Robert just likes coloring books.
They distract me for a while, yeah.
But no,
Take my
in
mind
all
off
seriousness,
things.
though, Robert,
What are your political views? I talk to Jesse about politics all the time.
where do you fall on the spectrum?
Depends on the question. I like to think I have different viewpoints on a lot of different things.
It's probably a moderate.
Probably.
You
Well-
like to toe the middle line, just do whatever is right in your heart.
Yeah, I kind of follow moral. What I think is right.
That would be like a moderate.
Okay.
Kind of like what Mark is. He's right in the middle with some left leaning.
I am for the most part.
As for the
Now,
prisoner thing, my viewpoint on their rights is the reason they ended up there is because they took it upon themselves to take someone else's rights.
Mm-hmm.
Say murder, even not even that drastic, stealing from someone, their right to their own property, they took that away from them. So
Yeah.
their rights are kind of forfeit at that point.
And it's like I said, once you're in that penitentiary, once because as far as the judicial system in this country goes, we stand by the you're innocent until proven guilty legally, though socially we tend to think you're guilty till you prove us otherwise, and then you're still guilty because we know you did something in your lifetime, you jerk.
Just look at like the OJ trial.
Oh
I
yeah.
still think OJ did it.
Have you seen the book he wrote? He wrote. It's
no. But
It's I did not do it, but the not is very tiny and it's inside the word did. So the book looks like I did do it. So basically he's admitting to it. I mean, you can't prove that
I
that's
mean-
what he's doing, but
it was a mistrial, so there's no like. He's got double jeopardy.
yeah, he can never
you
be
can't-
tried.
You can't try him for that again.
Well, unless new evidence comes up. Like if he admits to it.
Yeah.
Like on a recording or something.
Mm.
But we're not really talking about any one trial here. Getting back to the question of rights as far as prisoners go, and it's just in general, privacy versus security. You really got to think about it. Where do you have an expectation of privacy at? The laws have been set in such a way that you're given an expectation of privacy in certain areas. They call them zones of privacy. And we talked about this with Mark, though not on the show. And the idea is that in your own home, you have an expectation of privacy. And I feel very strongly that that's true.
That's a good old libertarian way to think of it, Jesse.
Yeah. There are some issues where I might be a little more conservative, but another place that I don't, when you get out into the public, I really don't think that you can have too much of an expectation of privacy because you've gone out, put yourself out amongst people.
Yeah.
Once you walk into, say, a government building, I feel like they have the right to record you. They have the right to use anything that happens to you while you're in their building. That's visual recordings, vocal recordings. Going through searches, that's within their purview.
You go on like anyone's privately owned property, like where I work, which I'm not going to say where I work, but you go there, they have cameras watching all the time, and it's a fast food place. Like you don't really expect, but they've got cameras all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
They're watching every move you make.
And I feel like you don't really have an expectation of privacy when you go to a public commercial area.
Yeah, like once you say something, once you put it out on the internet, it's what I like to say, public knowledge. Everyone knows about that. You cannot take that back.
Right.
So
exactly.
now everyone knows about it. But if you're in your home by yourself,
or in your own vehicle, as long as
Yeah.
your vehicle,
if you're saying something that you don't even have a thought in your head that someone else is going to hear it, that's more for you.
Well, and you talk about wiretappings. The the NSA got into a lot of trouble for wiretapping a few
Yeah.
years back.
Snowden.
Yeah, and what you say to someone on a private line on your personal phone is between you and them. You have an expectation of privacy for your conversation.
Exactly.
To a certain point, like I agree with everything that like we talked about,
But then
but there is like this whole question within like ever since we brought up the NSA, I should say, there's this whole idea that the government's job, along with governing, is protection.
Mhm.
And yes, what the NSA did was completely wrong. But here's the thing, like Mark brought up a good point. The idea of security versus privacy. Are you going to give up your security to stop all... Alright, let me rephrase this completely. Hypothetical question. Mark, were you there for the thing?
More than likely, unless it was this week, which I had some issues.
It was last Monday.
Oh, then if it was last Monday, then I was here.
It was before we had the conversation about
It was,
emerging technologies in the sex industry,
that was Monday.
which is another thing that we'll probably talk about on the show, but not today.
Yeah, not today. But he brought up the idea that if you could give up all your privacy, but in doing so you stop all foreign threats, would you do it? Personally, I think somewhat.
Threats to yourself or threats to
Threats to
other
like the
people?
nation as a
Yeah.
whole.
But it's like we talked about that day, though. You mentioned specifically foreign threats, but you have a lot of domestic threats too, and it's not just threats from people. It's threats from your government as well. You look at Russia during the time of Stalin. You look at Cuba until very recently, even still going on today some, where they call it in keeping with public safety, where they would just randomly take people off the street, and you no longer had any First Amendment rights. In a lot of those countries, they never had any rights that were defined. Like we have the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, things like that, freedom of the press. Those are our First Amendment freedoms. When you give up your expectation of privacy, you kind of give up those freedoms as well. So it's not really a question of security versus privacy. It's a question of, are you willing to give up some of your rights
For protection.
for protection? And
That's
is
a tough one to answer. Yeah.
and that leads to totalitarianism a lot. You see that in a lot of other countries. China.
The best way to do it, though, is make it abundantly clear. Clear wording is your best friend in this situation. If you're going to go about this way, you have to set clear guidelines to where you hit a certain threshold, that's where you stop. And I think for the most part in the past, at least to our public knowledge, the NSA has done that somewhat well. And then there was the whole WikiLeaks, and we found out all the fun stuff that the government was doing with our information. But I mean, like I said, and the reason why I brought this up is they were in an area very close to where I live when they escaped. They stole a car, broke into a house in the county I live in, and they weren't too far away from, where I go to eat lunch when I go out. The areas I frequent around the area that I live in, I say. But, in a way, they were scaring the crap out of everyone in our county. They took over a section of a Family Dollar and the local Chinese restaurant. And my dad, my mom, they're very nosy when it comes like this because we live in a small town and not a lot happens there. So they're like, you know what, we're going to go to Taco Bell. We're going to go get some food. We're going to go to the parking lot. We're going to see what happens. Sat there for like 5 minutes and I was like, Dad, nothing's going to happen. They're going to get caught somewhere else. So we should just go home and relax. I was like, all right.
And it wasn't just in that county where people were getting scared.
No,
a friend of mine, his stepsister lives in the area that the criminals are from originally. And so he had to go out there, I guess it was Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And sit with her. And a lot of us, we went out there with them so that they wouldn't be alone. Actually played some pretty interesting games. There's an RPG game that you guys should look into. It's called Fiasco.
Sounds stupid.
It's great. It's
Jeez, dude.
So it's
What up, dude?
it's basically. Do you like Coen Brothers movies?
Oh God, yes.
Okay, so it's basically a Coen Brothers movie. It gives you. It's just a bunch of different scenarios, and the idea is they've got they release a new scenario every month, and they came out 3 years ago, I
And
think.
what was this called?
It's called Fiasco.
Fiasco. Okay.
And basically, what happens is that you just get a group of people together. It's usually best played with about 4 to 5 people, and you get relationships to each person that you're there with, as well as halfway through you get a tilt, which is going to change how the story progresses. And the idea is it's not like there's no stats, there's no die rolls. The idea is each person just takes control of the story for a short period of time and tells you exactly what's going on. And then by the end of it, it takes about roughly 2 hours to play.
That sounds awesome.
And by the end of it, you've basically just, shot out a Coen Brothers movie.
That is so true. I love the Coen Brothers, man.
Oh,
My
yeah.
favorite's Our Brother Where Art Thou. Has to be.
Oh, yeah. And the great thing with the Coen Brothers is that they put so much into their films. And we're getting off topic. Let's
Let's cycle it back here.
We'll shelf this for right now. When we get done talking about our ethics corner, we'll come back to it.
It's almost over.
Should we mark prisoners then?
Here's my thing. I believe
Ethically, I say yes, because if you're in prison, now I understand there's this whole idea of false imprisonment, and that does happen. I heard a story the other day. I don't remember the guy's name.
We already do kind of mark people this way.
But I'm saying like
with ankle bracelets.
You can get those off. I'm talking about like a skin implant.
Yeah.
Like a little microchip that
gives
us our
you ain't
GPS.
getting that out unless you got a doctor.
So you're talking about like how we do animals.
Yes. Because
see, that's the problem. See, other people might say, "Oh, we're treating them like animals. They're human beings. They deserve so much."
They're
well,
human beings,
at the same time, they did something to someone else that they deserve to be put in the situation.
And here's the thing, though. If you're we already have a system in place for this. We take them out of society and we shove them into preferably damp, dark corners of the prison system, and we just let them rot there until they pay their debt back.
Well, it's not as bad as you make it sound, because they get free meals, free TVs.
You say it's free, but in a lot of ways, it's not.
People are paying for it, the taxes.
Well, and it's not even that. In some prisons, the prisoners get charged for their stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
that's becoming a more common practice. It's like, they have this card they have to keep with them, and
what if they don't have the money to pay for it?
Well, they work.
Oh, they work?
You either work or you can have family
send you money
through this card, and then you buy stuff.
All right.
Which, that's fine. But here's the thing. Like, it's the question of whether do you want to feel safe knowing that another situation like what happened earlier this week, these two guys killing cops and running away. And for hours, there's a bunch of information running around. Like, it seems like every time I turned around, I was listening to WSB through the whole thing, and they were always about a step behind. And then I'd look at other sources, and they were 2 steps behind.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I understand the cops aren't going to tell the news and media, even the public, all of that.
Well, they don't want to panic, and
also they don't want to tip them off.
Yeah, even worse, they don't want to tell the criminals where they're looking. I think that what we have to think about though isn't just do we feel safe now. It's how is this going to affect us in the future? And we're not talking about just the future as it pertains to us, but we're also talking about the future as it pertains to our children or our grandchildren. Because you have to ask yourself, where does the line stop? Who gets to define what is a tagging offense? For example, right now we're like, oh, murderers should be tagged, child molesters, rapists, those people, they should be tagged. We should know all the time where they are. And that sounds great. It sounds
is a slippery slope. It could
that sounds great, but in 50 years, 60 years, how do you know
even
that
says a violent thing? Then
how do you know that if you get pulled over for speeding,
they're going to tag
they
you?
won't tag you
speed anymore.
Yeah, and you have to really think about this because that's the real conundrum with ethical debates is we have to think about how it's going to affect us now, but also how it's going to affect us in the future, and that's where this comes into play. So the debate really isn't what we should do right now. It's what we should do right now that will save us now, but also protect us in the future without causing a problem for our descendants.
That is true. And in closing, we're just going to break it down to a yes or no question. Would you go with this scenario or go against it?
Which scenario?
Like, would you give up personal privacy for overall security?
If we're talking about in a large sense, where I'm giving up in every area, I'm giving up a personal freedom for security, then I'm going to say no. But if it's in a limited sense, I would say yes.
Right, I agree with you.
For me, it's kind of a question of, do I want to live or survive? I want to be able to enjoy life, and I know that security is a part of that, but if I feel like I can't do the things I want without somebody watching me 24/7, I'm not going to enjoy my life. So I would say I'd like to keep privacy for me personally, but if I have to do things to help other people, then I might give up privacy. But for me personally, I would choose privacy over security.
All right, I'm with Jesse a little bit on this. As long as it's not heading over a certain like marker or threshold, then I'm fine with it. But if it's giving up every bit of privacy, well then no. You have to have privacy. It's just a normal thing. There are certain aspects, whether it's good or bad, you view that you don't want to share with anyone. You should have that right.
But as Jesse was saying, who gets to decide what the threshold is and how far are they going to go? I mean, already with the NSA tapping phones and listening to anyone who has any slight connection to anyone who might be on the watch list.
Well, and here's another thing we can look at to think about this as well. We look at the Patriot Act, and that comes out of 9/11, and at the time it seemed like it was very good legislature. It could protect us. It had the idea that we could hold people, and this is the big part because this is the part that gets abused. We could hold people for a certain period of time much longer than we should have been able to without charging anyone. And this was, in essence, the idea that you could hold someone that you were pretty sure was a terrorist.
Or your superiors told you they were.
Yeah, and you could find the evidence or prevent one of their terroristic measures. It gets abused, though, because a lot of the time we see police officers using the Patriot Act to hold people for upwards of 48 hours without charging them, and they leave them in interrogation rooms. They don't get to see their lawyers. They don't get to make any phone calls because technically they're not charged. They also can't leave, and that's an example of a slippery slope because you put in these measures, and then later on, it's very likely that they can get abused.
That is true. And now we're going to leave the question to you, the listener. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comment section. So we'll be posting this up on YouTube. Now,
you might also find it posted to social media, and just look around. Look around and try to find us.
And let us know. We honestly, we're doing this partly because we want to, and this is a good creative outlet. But I personally like this because I want to interact with our listeners, whoever they may be.
And I'm actually very fond of this idea because it gives us a chance. We don't always agree eye to eye on every issue. We don't see it, and it gives us a chance to have this dialogue from both sides of the aisle without
really, all three, the right wing, left wing, middle.
Yeah,
I pointed to me, Jesse, and then Robert.
Yeah, and it does. It gives us a chance to see it from all areas of the aisle without devolving into name calling or fighting or screaming.
I get called names.
Well, you're not
poopy head.
Robert.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I love you, Robert.
No, but in all seriousness, we never want to make fun of anybody for their political beliefs. We don't make fun of people for their religious affiliations. We're here to have an actual dialogue, and that's what we're looking for. And if you guys want to, go ahead and put in something in the comments that, something that you firmly believe,
or suggest topics for us to talk about, we'll look into it.
We're not gonna judge you.
Don't insult someone in the comments just for something they believe. Like what was it that Mark said?
Oh yeah, we definitely don't want to hear. We don't want to hear any name calling. We don't want to see any hate speech. Don't call anybody a libtard. Don't call anybody names Don't call them fascist if they're
Even if
right wing.
Jesse is a poopy head, don't call him a poopy head.
Yeah, just
Exactly.
keep it to yourself.
I'm poking fun at this, but in all seriousness, like, we don't want to see hate be spread out. The world's full of that. You want to do that? Turn on the news.
Yeah.
We're here to have like an actual debate and a conversation.
This
about
is an
this.
area where we can have real political conversations, talk about real partisan issues.
That and all like the ethical things that happen in our world, but we can do it in a safe space. And
Keep
I know
it intellectual
some
or keep
people
it
don't
quiet.
like that word, safe space, but like we can do it in an area in which we're doing it, for one thing, normally and not like a bunch of animals. But we're doing it in a way that, you know, we pose a question to you, and we're honestly like, we want to hear what you say, but just keep it clean, kids.
Keep
Yeah.
it intellectual or keep it
Look,
quiet. That could
we-
be up.
We wanna
yeah, I like that. I can't high five you, but I like that.
we want to inspire you to go out there and have these conversations with other people as well. You know, it's important that we get out into the world and we start having these conversations without it devolving into fighting, because we see that so often now. This country needs to return to a point where we could have these conversations. It's gotten to a point where politics is something that we avoid talking
I
about.
just don't want to trigger anybody, but in
Yeah,
reality,
it's all about like we gotta keep it PC, bro. But I'll
You
be
mean
the first
PG?
to tell you, and they'll tell you, I speak mostly what's on my mind, and I try to now when it comes to like serious topics like security versus privacy, I'm gonna poke fun of it, kind of keep it lighthearted. But in all seriousness, this is something like if you notice, I take it seriously because this is a question that directly affects everyone. But with that, we want to go into a different topic. So
Just remember, it's okay to be PC, but keep it PC-13 instead.
yeah, keep PC-13. A little bit of edgy, but not too bad.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that that stupid woman Amanda Waller. For one thing, here's another ethical debate. We'll bring nerdism into it. She had no right to tag Deadshot. I don't care about anyone else on the Suicide Squad, but Deadshot's so cool. You can't like halt that. He's got handguns.
He was also a murderer. He was an assassin.
Here's
So's Deathstroke, but he's awesome.
here's something
You don't
else
think they
too.
would tag Deathstroke if they could?
Here's something
They
else too.
did. It did work.
In a lot of different media, they've tagged Captain Boomerang,
Captain Boomerang, Killer
who is not an
Croc.
American citizen.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Though he is on foreign soil, so he's open game.
Yeah, well, they still have to legally. They have to notify Australia.
Unless he renounces citizenship to everyone, and then they're like, "Hey,
Yeah,
guess what, kids?"
which I doubt he would do, because Australia is one of those places where it's hard to get it's hard to get them to send their criminals back to you. You know, technically we have treaties with them, but when was the last time you heard about Australia sending someone back here?
That's true.
So not only is she tagging people illegally, but she's also illegally holding foreign nationals without notifying their affiliated governments.
I can't stress enough. I hate Amanda Waller, and a lot of people are like, "Well, I don't like her, but why are you so passionate about this?" Like, she is a bitch. Like, not only that, she's trying. Like, if you look at the Justice League show, she
Oh man,
she basically calls Batman. I'm like, you don't talk to Kevin Conroy like that. Kevin Conroy is Batman. There are other people that are good Batmans. Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill are the characters they play. There's no other Joker but Mark Hamill, and there's no other Batman but Kevin Conroy.
Let's talk
You
about
want
some
me
of
to
the other
prove it?
stuff on that show that she did. Think about this: Terry McGinnis. She
Hold on,
re
pause on that. We'll get to that in a second. But I can prove my point.
Yeah.
When you read a Batman comic, whose voice do you hear? It's not Ben Affleck, and it sure as hell is not Christian Bale.
and if it's Val Kilmer, God, I feel sorry for you.
And if it's George Clooney,
Well, if it's George Clooney, I mean, he has a very soothing voice. So I'll
But
let
no,
you
he
pass
did a
on it,
horrible
but I'm going to make
Batman.
fun of you because of bat nipples.
Fat nipples. We'll talk about that in a minute too. But I hear Kevin Conroy. Same thing with the Joker. There is no other voice. I love Heath Ledger. He's one of my favorite Jokers. But Mark Hamill's the only voice I ever hear when I read a comic.
Oh, yeah. No, and I proved this to someone the other day. I said do a Joker laugh.
And the dude, he was like, he's like, Mark Hamill's awful as a Joker. He didn't quite say that, but he was saying that Mark Hamill wasn't the best. He was saying Ledger was.
I said do a Joker laugh, and he looks at me and he goes, "Okay, I see your point."
But Bat Nipples, that was. What was Joel Schumacher thinking? He gave me good movies like Phone Booth, Tigerland. Maybe not the most critically acclaimed things, but I enjoy Phone Booth. The concept of a dude having to be stuck in a phone booth with Keith Sutherland having a gun to you.
Have you ever noticed how often this happens? Superheroes or really good characters, their names are either Shepard or some form of JC. The guy in Phone Booth, his last name is Shepard, and he ends up sacrificing himself.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does.
He's still alive at the end of the movie.
Yeah, but I mean, this is what it is. He's there. He's putting himself in harm's way so that other people can be safe. He's like focus on me.
Then you could also go with the whole Mass Effect thing.
Oh yeah,
Commander Shepard.
Commander Shepard.
Fem Shepard.
And then if you talk about bad characters, if they're doctors, you know, they're bad. With some exceptions, you got Dr. Fate, who's
Doctor
good.
Strange.
Doctor Strange, who's good. So basically, if you're a magician and your name is Doctor, you're good. But then you've got
Well, Dr. Manhattan's not a magician. So, all right, that's a bad example because he's not good or bad. He's the only middle ground character.
Yeah, but you talk about other doctors in comic books.
Dr. Light's a villain. You got Victor Freeze, who was a scientist.
So what do we learn from that? Education is bad.
No, education's not bad because
Robert.
it's using your title that's bad because you have people who have doctorates in the Marvel universe that never use the term doctor, and yet they're the good guys.
Yeah, look at Black Panther.
Tony Stark, I'm sure, has a doctorate.
Tony Stark has several doctorates. Reed Richards.
Who's Black Panther's the smartest character in the Marvel universe.
Easily the smartest character.
That's why. So there's this web app called 9gag. It's like a bunch of pictures and you can comment. Kind of like Instagram, but more for like 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
Well, Instagram still is.
Talking about what we were just talking about. I mentioned earlier how much I love Cracked. Cracked actually has an entire video on the naming of fictional characters you should look into. Some of the examples we brought up they covered, and some of the other stuff that we talked about they didn't, like Dr. Fate, Dr. Strange, Dr. Manhattan. But if you really want to get in depth on the naming of fictional characters, go check out that video. It's really awesome.
I mean, would you rather have Iron Man or Iron Doctor?
That's a good point.
Oh, bring up Doctor Doom, who's probably the best villain in Marvel.
Oh yeah, and if he really wanted to,
I love it.
If he really wanted to be playing up his doctor, he could just go Iron Lung. So, I'm sorry, that was a terrible joke.
It's Iron Heart.
Iron Heart, is that what he is?
Not Iron Lung. He has a magnet. That's a cold joke, but I love it. But
Robert's actually crying right now.
Not crying. He's so disappointed in me and Jesse, but I don't really care. But think about it. We don't talk about this. Let's talk about the important thing. How T'Challa is the best. So basically, have you ever seen those pictures where it's 9 different people? You pick a number and it's you pick this one character, the rest will come after you. Or pick this one to teach you. Who's it going to be? The one that I saw was...
I'm going to choose Black Panther every time.
It was Black Panther, Batman. No. It's Black Panther, Batman, Red Hood,
oh man,
Deathstroke.
I don't know, man. You got Black Panther and Batman.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think I'd pick Batman.
I don't know. Black Panther is actually Marvel's answer to Batman. They're basically the same character.
They're both rich orphan people that built kick-ass suits.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about it.
Plus, they're both incredibly smart.
Batman wasn't on there. That's why they put Black Panther on there. But I would choose Batman 10 out of 10 times. That's Bonnie Tyler. That's my phone.
Yeah,
fantastic.
The total eclipse of the heart.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So, if you could pick, who would teach you though?
If I could pick one Marvel character to teach me their trade, their craft.
I'd pick Doctor Strange. Just because I love magic. I don't care anything else about
Are we talking Doctor
Strange?
Strange? Are we talking when you talk about magic though? You have to think about it because there's two different sets of magic. You get DC magic, you get Marvel magic.
Well, we're talking about the Marvel universe. Right?
Okay, so we're talking Marvel universe. One
Yeah.
Marvel character. Okay, I'm gonna choose. Yeah, I'm gonna choose Doctor Strange because he'll teach me magic. The only other person that you could choose would be Thanos, and he's going to turn you into a cyborg. So
So you would want to learn how to be like Black Panther. You would want to learn magic. Doctor Strange.
yeah, I mean, well, once you learn the magic and you learn the rules, and what's funny is that Marvel defines what Doctor Strange can and can't do, and then he just turns around and does it anyway.
Well, I'm not going to spoil the ending of the Doctor Strange movie, but can I just say that
It's on
was
Netflix.
awesome?
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
I know,
If
but
you haven't
just
seen it by now,
Just in case, because
That's your
It has
I'm
been
usually
out
the
over
guy.
a
I'm
year.
usually the guy who's behind, and I don't like it when people spoil it. But can I say that the ending, like my cousin didn't like the ending because he's like, I guess he's just used to
At
the
the end of
Marvel
Star Wars,
fighting
you
the
find
final
out Darth
boss,
Vader is
just like
the
actually
Oh.
fighting.
yeah,
I love the ending of Doctor Strange. I thought it was I thought it was well done. He didn't
Dormammu,
actually.
I've come to bargain. Dormammu, I've come to make a bargain.
Thanks for interrupting me, my dude.
Dormammu.
I thought it was a well done ending because he didn't have to fight him.
Well,
He didn't say the
And
chance
that's
he did.
that's such
Well, and
a
I know
Doctor
it-
Strange thing.
yeah.
Like,
If you know a
everyone's
lot about
telling
the
him-
Doctor Strange mythos, I mean, he's not really into direct confrontation.
That's why he uses magic. He's like,
I mean,
pew, 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 pew.
there's several instances where he uses direct confrontation as a means to finish it, but he's very crafty. He's a very
Can we talk
crafty
about-
I
character.
loved that ending though. I thought it was the best ending that movie could have done.
I'm going to be 100% on this. I was really worried about how they were going to display Dormammu in this movie, but they did a really good job.
It's not quite the way I wanted, but it's very, very good.
Oh yeah,
I want like the, cool battle suit, flaming head. That's what I wanted. But I got something better. They gave him the face.
Yeah.
That's cool. Same thing with the ego and Guardians 2. Speaking of Guardians 2, can we talk about the fact that I'm eventually going to get Adam Warlock?
oh yeah.
Oh boy.
I can't
Oh,
wait. I
boy.
can't wait for him to pop up. Adam Warlock is awesome.
So good. I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2. You see what I'm
It's
talking
fun.
about? Me being the one who's usually behind.
Well, I mean that just
It's
came
fun.
out, so it's understandable.
It's probably going to be on DVD soon, and you live very close to me, so I'll bring it over when I buy it.
Oh yeah. Heck, we might even just rewatch it. I took my girlfriend to see it. Well, I didn't take it. My one of my best friends, he took me and my girlfriend to see it. And she had never seen Guardians or any of the Guardians. Okay, so before we went, we sat down and we watched the entire first movie, and my girlfriend was just blown away. She loved it. She loved the movie. She went crazy for it.
Because
She
they
thinks
finally presented Star-Lord as someone besides a sociopathic psychopath.
oh yeah, she thought Groot was the greatest thing that's ever happened ever.
Everyone did.
Yeah.
It's like the best Vin Diesel thing. It's the only
Wait.
Vin Diesel part he doesn't play Vin Diesel.
When Groot quote unquote dies, my girlfriend cried.
I just laughed.
I did not tell her that he was coming back.
Because he always does. It's happened in the comics. Groot can just regrow.
Well, and she's never read any of the comics either.
Because
So I didn't tell her anything. So as
That's
far as she
cool.
knew, he was dead.
Jesse's a great boyfriend. He's going to let his girlfriend go through a
How
mental
you feeling
turmoil.
about the tree?
Oh man, you guys don't even know.
Go on.
You
Go
guys
on.
don't even know.
He's dead.
When I showed her Star Wars for the first time,
Oh, gee.
Uh,
Which one did you start her off with?
4, of course. I mean,
It's the only right
that's
answer.
the only place you're gonna start her off, and she liked it. And we watched the second one.
Yeah.
We watched
Emperor.
Empire.
I said Emperor.
And I leaned over just as soon as the movie started. And I said, "You're not going to get this joke yet." And I asked her. I said, "What's the internal temperature of a tauntaun?" And she said, "I don't know." I said, "It's about lukewarm."
Oh my gosh.
God.
She didn't
Star
get
Wars nerds are going to get that.
Yeah, that joke was for all my Star Wars peeps out there.
That was pretty good.
But she didn't get it.
It's
Of
an
course,
oldie but a goodie.
she didn't get it. Of course. So we're watching the movie, and Han Solo slices open that tauntaun and throws Luke in there. And she looks at me. And she goes, "You're a fucking asshole. I hate you. You were the worst person."
What? That is such a good joke. Why
She-
did she think you were an
No,
asshole?
she was
She
like-
loves animals.
Oh yeah, she does. She was like, "That's so sad about that tauntaun." Can we just talk about?
It's
the
a
fact-
mythical animal.
Can we just talk
Oh,
about
an animal.
for a second?
Animals are people too.
For a second, can we just talk about how crazy it is that the tauntaun, who's evolved on the planet Hoth, is designed for surviving those kinds of temperatures. Froze to death before Han Solo did.
Oh my God! I have seen
You
Empire.
have to stop questioning
No, no,
all
no,
Star
no, no,
Wars
no,
because
no.
it's not going to get you anywhere.
No, 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 no. This is a good point, though.
I know
I
it's
have
a good
seen
one,
Empire probably in my lifetime 150 times. I watch it at least 3 times a year. Maybe more. There's a couple years watching more. But still, I
That
have
thing didn't
never
have
thought of that.
yeah,
That thing have any? I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen the movie.
yeah, it had fur.
Okay,
Yeah,
it did
fur.
have fur.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
had really thick fur.
You know what? I'm gonna watch
Dead.
Star Wars tonight.
And it was just dead.
This is a good thing. I'm gonna watch Star Wars tonight. I'm
Yo,
gonna
it's a
actually
little chilly.
critically.
Yep. And for all my Harry Potter peeps out there, she really hates it when I tell my owl joke.
Oh,
What's the
please tell
owl
me the
do?
owl joke.
How long does an owl live? About 6.5 books.
No.
Oh, she hates it.
Oh, it's
Oh,
so
she
good.
hates it.
That's so good.
Oh man,
I hate Harry Potter. That was a good. That's the whole.
talking about Harry Potter. You know what's crazy? It's with my girlfriend. Her favorite movie is 4, and her favorite book is 5. And my favorite book is 4, and my favorite movie is 5.
I don't have a favorite book or a favorite movie because I don't like Harry Potter.
Well, and you know that happens from time to time. My buddy Ross, I think it's a libertarian thing. My buddy Ross, he's also a libertarian. He doesn't.
Well,
he couldn't care one way or the other.
I grew up in a very religious household. I'm still religious. I'm an outspoken Christian. If that turns people off, I'm sorry. But I'm
Turns
not
me
going
on.
to try to, like... Oh, Robert. So many jokes can be made. But partly my dad kind of shelters us away from that. It was weird. He let me watch, like, Lord of the Rings. Which in some ways is arguably, like, a kind of more...
Well, the writer of Lord of the Rings was writing from, like, had a lot of Christian
Yeah,
underlying tones with it.
Tolkien often described himself as a turbo Christian, whatever that means.
Means
And
that she
then,
goes
of course,
fast.
like...
Or
yeah, he was fast.
Tolkien's a man.
Tolkien's a man. I don't know why. Oh, because we were stuck on the Harry Potter.
Yeah,
thing. I
you're
was
thinking
about
Rowling.
Anyway,
Who
but-
I believe is actually an
Yeah,
atheist.
and that I think that's
So,
why I did.
you know,
but like,
speaking
there is a
Christian.
lot of dark
Okay.
themes in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
More than Harry Potter.
You talk about Tolkien's contemporary. It's Lewis. C.S. Lewis.
Lewis, I should do disclaimer. Probably one of my favorite writers, both within the Narnia like wheelhouse, and then some of his more like religious things. He wrote a book about all the demons in the world. I can't remember what they're called. Something worm.
Like, and you think about it. You know, his first book, Lion, Jesus, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Lion Jesus. Thank you, Jesse.
Yeah.
Lion Jesus.
Lion, Jesus. If you've ever
Can we
watched,
say that like Liam Neeson, who is the voice? Everyone's like Morgan Freeman's the voice of God. For me, I hear Liam Neeson.
oh yeah, because he's Aslan.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That and he played. Well, no, yeah, he played Zeus too. So it's like
You gotta be careful with Liam Neeson. I can't. You know, he's always like I'm this big tough Irish guy. I can't take him seriously. He was in Love Actually.
screw you. That is a good movie.
I didn't say it wasn't. I love that movie. I watch it once a
He
year.
was very. I liked.
That's one of my Christmas movies.
The only proper Christmas movie that I have to watch every year.
Yeah.
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
It's the best Christmas movie.
My girlfriend asked me what my favorite Christmas
never
movie
seen
was.
Die
I said
Hard?
Die
no,
Hard.
I've seen it. It's just my family's tradition is Christmas Vacation.
Yeah,
So
that's
what's that?
understandable. You know, like the National Lampoons are pretty good.
Yeah.
But for me, like, my mother loves Christmas. It's her favorite holiday. She will, from whenever the
Is she one of those people that starts decorating immediately after Halloween ends?
Oh no! She does it.
Year round. She
Year-round.
The
The
year-round
candy
decorations.
canes never go away.
There's a Santa Claus
My
on
dad
their house
has
right
like
now.
he doesn't have a white beard. He has like dark brown hair, dark brown beard, almost like black.
But
Which makes him
but
dress up as Santa every day.
every December he wakes up with his hair and beard dyed white.
Yeah, he's like, "Dang it, Cindy, not again." No, but what was I saying? Oh yeah,
Christmas.
Christmas. It's not that early. She's like, no, it's still Thanksgiving season. But day after, on Black Friday, that's when it starts going. I get more in the spirit after Halloween. I don't
Here's
get like
my-
super into it
here's
until
what I don't like.
December. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up pretty soon. But before we end, I just want to say it's crazy that stores think we go straight from Halloween to Christmas.
Oh yeah.
We get Halloween for about a week, and
No,
then we
I've
get
seen some stores
and then we get
overload on
Christmas for like
Thanksgiving
6
stuff.
months.
Yeah, but that's like the
Well,
Bed
that's the.
Bath and Beyond places.
Which
I mean, like
Well, if you
Walmart.
think about it,
There's not
Christmas is
even-
where the money is.
there's not even a Bed Bath
Oh,
and
God,
Beyond in
yes.
Athens anymore.
All right, so think about it. The only place I've ever seen Thanksgiving like hyped in a store is a store that sells food. You know, a grocery store. They'll hype the crap out of Thanksgiving. That's where their money is. But in like Walmarts and stuff like that, they're gonna hype Christmas because people are going there to buy Christmas stuff. It's like, oh, that's on sale. Supposedly, it's only a little bit off, but they're still making money off of it because now more people are gonna buy it because it's Christmas time and it's on sale.
Let's talk about the greatest thing that Easter ever gave us, and that is
A rabbit that poops eggs.
no, that is Starburst flavored jelly beans.
Alright, I have to disagree with you here. I don't like jelly beans.
Oh well,
Yo, I found some jelly
I'll tell
beans
you
in my
the
house the
story.
other day.
I was
"Ooh."
like 14, and we went to a Cracker Barrel after church one day, and I got like a giant tube of jelly beans. And I was like, you know what? Back then I loved them, and I ate a lot. Just kept eating them and eating them like I played video games. Jelly beans.
So you got sick of them.
I got super sick. Same thing with shrimp. I ate some bad shrimp once. Can't stand the smell of it.
Oh, speaking of jelly beans, y'all ever had the Harry Potter jelly
oh
beans? What are they called?
the every flavor beans.
Yeah, those things are nasty but delicious at the same time.
Oh yeah, they're not joking around with those flavors either.
Yeah.
They will throw any
I
flavor.
looked
in
at
there.
the back of the box because my mom got it for me, and I was looking at the back of the box. I'm like, why would I eat this? And then I proceeded to eat it because I'm fat.
Yeah.
I wanted those jelly beans.
Right, as you do. All right, well we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna wrap this up. We'll be back again probably Wednesday. We're gonna try to upload about twice a week.
Yep. Maybe next week before we upload, because we're going to have our professor. We may go ahead and just do and have a 5th episode where it's in Mark's return.
Well, we'll just see what happens. And I mean, this is gonna go for as long as we can keep it going.
Yep.
And as long as you guys are with us, we're gonna stay with you.
But as always, I'm Phoenix King, the Daedric Lord of Chubbiness, Mr. Robert,
Oh,
and then Big Sexy Man Jesse. For all three of us, I like to say, have a great day and get out of my house, you turd nuggets.
Off my lawn.